Welcome to my YouTube channel. So in this video we are going to see of how to make an application for the UK visitor visa. I've already made a video of the documents required and the process for the UK visitor visa. So I'll leave the description below. So this video will give you a clear explanation of how to fill your application for a UK visitor visa. I've recently done my application for my in-laws coming to the UK, and I had a number of questions which I struggled. So I thought like this video will be very useful for anyone who is applying for a UK visitor visa. We will go through the whole application form and I'll explain in detail every section in the document. I will also leave you the link in the description below of where to go and apply for the UK visitor visa. So you're basically outside the UK, you can apply online and then you need to book a appointment in the visa application center. So once you click the link, there are 8 to 10 different languages where you can apply for a UK visitor visa, which is very useful, and also it gives you the flexibility to fill the application in your own language. A quick disclaimer before going to the video. I'm not an immigration lawyer or an immigration advisor. I'm just helping you on my research, and I strongly recommend you to see the Home Office website before making an application. So here is the application form which has been filled by me for my in-laws, and I've downloaded it. So when you go to the link, you can fill all these details. I'm just giving you an example of what I've done for my in-laws. It'll be almost the same when you do your application, but then you have to tailor it according to your circumstances and also with your personal details. So the first thing is the applicant name, where you need to enter your name. If the agent is applying on your behalf, I strongly advise you to give your full name with no spelling mistake. A GWF number is a number generated for your application, so it will be very specific for every individual. I've just created a dummy number here. And also you need to enter your passport number, your current nationality, your date of birth, gender. All these questions are straightforward. And then the date of application, which will be generated by the system once you finish the application. So they'll be asking you the type of visa and the application. There'll be a drop down menu. You need to select the visitor visa in that. There are different options available there. So if you want to apply for a standard UK visitor visa, you need to select the option standard. And then for every standard visa, the duration is 6 months. So you can come here in the UK and then stay a maximum of 6 months and then leave the UK before the visa expires. The Home Office fees for the UK visitor visa is £93. So we did this application from India, so that's in Indian rupees. Submission method is we are submitting an online application here. Once you've made the payment, you'll be getting a payment reference number which you need to key in here in the application. You need to provide your personal email address. Many people have given the agent's email address, and then the Home Office won't take responsibility if they try to contact the applicant, and then if it goes to the agent's email, they might not be very responsive. So it's always recommended to provide your personal email ID and also your phone number so that Home Office can call you in case of any clarification needed. So contact language, you can put your preferred language so that Home Office will contact you and then speak to you in the language mentioned in the application form. Your personal information, you need to again enter your personal email address here. Your travel information. In the travel information section, they're asking what is the main reason for you to visit the UK. You might visit the UK for business purposes. You might visit the UK for visiting your friends and family, or for leisure and holidays, or you might come here to do some special activities and participate in a sporting event, or for a special medical treatment. Yeah, so for me it was to visit me and my wife, so I've included tourism in the brackets with including visiting my family and friends. You can tailor it according to your travel plans. Will you be traveling to UK as a part of an organization group? If you're part of any organization group, you might select yes, but in my case it was no, so I selected no. Will you be traveling to the UK with someone who is not your partner, spouse, or dependent? If you're applying yourself, it's no in this case. And if you're applying with any of your friends and if you're making joint application, you might have to tailor your answer here. What is the main reason for your holiday visit to the UK? So they want to know why you specifically want to visit the UK and not any other country. You can say that you have your family, or you might have some friends in the UK. Give details of the main purpose of your visit and anything else you want to plan to do on your trip. If you are coming here for leisure and holiday, you might want to give a clear itinerary. Since my in-laws are coming to visit me and my wife, so we have just put it as visiting daughter and son-in-law. date you plan to arrive in the UK, a date you plan to leave in the UK. As I told you, I've done another video of making a invitation letter on the covering letter. So you need to make sure that the travel dates in the invitation letter and the covering letter matches the application as well. It's very important to match all the dates as the caseworker is checking all the information and then makes a decision. You have to give your personal name, your first name, and then last name. Are you now, or have you ever been known by another name? If you have another name in the past and if you have changed your name, you need to mention that. In most of the cases, it's a no. Who does this email address belongs to? I've just made up an email. So if you're applying via agent, you have to say it's someone else, or if it's yourself, you just have to tell it's your email ID. Do you have an email address? You have to say yes, and then provide your email address. Even if you're applying for your wife or your daughter, you can provide the same email address for all the applicants. Which email address should be used to contact you with any questions about your application? I would give a same email address for the whole application. Which email address should be used to send a decision of your application? This can be your same email address as well, and make sure that you check your email after submitting the application. It usually take 3 to 5 working days. For us, we got the visa in 5 working days, but the lead time is 15 working days from the day you attend the biometrics appointment. What is the gender? As shown in your passport or travel document, you can select a gender. What's your relationship status? If you're married or if you're single, you can select your status there. Country of nationality, you can enter your country of nationality, and then the birth country, place of birth, and then your date of birth. Do you have a valid national identity card? If you have a national identity card in your country, you might say yes, and then you might have to take that with you when you're going for the application with originals and the photocopy. So in India, we don't have any national identity card, so we say no. Asking for your current address, where you need to enter your current resident address, also your correspondence address. If it's yes, say yes. How long have you lived at this address? 20 years in my case. You can say the specific time of period where you're living at this address. What is the ownership status of your home? They want to know whether it's your own property or you're living in a rented property. You have to provide your telephone number. Where do you use this telephone number? There'll be a few options. Right option you need to select is this one, where you select for use wireless out of the UK. Although it's your number in your home country, this is the best option on the drop down menu. Select whether this is your home, mobile, or work telephone number. Select whatever number you give. Are you able to be contacted by telephone? You can say I can be contacted by telephone, call, and text, SMS, if that's okay with you. You also need to provide your passport number, and then the issuing authority, the issue and the expiry date. If you're traveling with your spouse or any dependents, you also need to provide their first and last name, date of birth, country of nationality, and then they want to know whether they are living with you, just to make sure that who's sponsoring them. Do they currently live with you? Yes. So they basically want to know with how many people you are living, and then what's your financial stability, and then how much do you earn, then how much do you spend if you're living with your spouse or dependents if they're not working. They also want to know whether your spouse or dependent are traveling with you. You have to provide their passport number, and then also all the personal information of the dependents traveling with you. You also need to provide your parents' details. They also want to know the date of birth of your parents, their nationality, and also they want to know whether they have the same nationality as you. In the employment section, what is your employment status? You need to select the answer which is suitable for you. In my situation, it was self-employed for my father-in-law. On the date you have started working for your employer or you started your own business, you have to provide the employee's name and the address with the telephone number. Also, you have to provide your job title, how much you earn after tax, and your job title. As you can see, they want to know how much you're earning a year. So this is very important as they need this number to calculate of how much you can afford and spend in the UK. So they will obviously calculate this amount before giving you the visa. They also want to know your previous employment organization where you worked. Do you have any other incoming to savings? If you have any other savings, like you might have a property where you might be getting a rent, so you might clearly mention it here with other regular income as savings, and then you might also have other savings policy where you can mention it here. what kind of regular income do you have. You just have to say another income and the drop down menu, and then the total amount of money um, you earn in a year. I've just made up a number here. Make sure that you select the right currency when you fill the application. How much money are you personally planning to spend on your visit in the UK? So when you put this amount, you need to make sure that you have enough money to spend for you and also for the dependents and spouse traveling with you. They will basically calculate your money coming to your bank account of how much savings you have, whether you can afford to live in the UK with no problems. This is very important, as the caseworker will see all the financial information before making a decision. Who's paying towards the cost of your visit? So if you're sponsoring yourself, you should tell your name and the address. Any sponsor like your son or daughter or your son-in-law is sponsoring you from the UK, you have to give their details and their name and address, um, with all the sponsorship documents mentioned in my other video. Sponsor is in the UK. They also want to know how much money they're earning, and then they also want to know what's the relationship to you. Family in the UK. Do you have any family in the UK? If it's yes, you have to mention their name, their names and nationality, what kind of visa they have in the UK. You basically have to provide the sponsorship passport, BRP card, their bank statements, and the employment letter, and any other savings money they have in their bank account. Here they want to know the passport number of the sponsor, and they want to know who's the relation to you as they are sponsoring you. Accommodation details. One of the vital point in making the decision is the accommodation details. So if you have booked your hotels and accommodation, you might better off giving them the printout and the proof. But if you're living with your friends and family, then you need to provide their UK address, their phone number, their email address, and also mention that in the invitation letter, saying that you will be staying in their property. Also want to know how many people are living with your sponsor, and then they have enough space to accommodate you before providing you the visa. Date you'll arrive at this address, and then date you leave at this address. They want to make sure that this matches the invitation letter and the covering letter you have already provided them. Will you be staying anywhere else in the UK? If you have any other plans, you might say yes. If not, say no. Travel history. Have you been to the UK in the past 10 years? It was no for my in-laws. It might differ for you. Have you ever entered the UK illegally, remained in the UK beyond the validity of your visa or permission to stay? It was no for my in-laws, but if there's anything you want to mention to Home Office, it's better to mention rather than lying and getting the application rejected. Have you ever breached the conditions of your leave, for example, worked without permission or received public funds when you did not have permission? It was no in my case. Given false information when applying for a visa to enter or leave to remain. These are basically violating the immigration rules of UK. If you're illegally stayed in UK in the past, they want to know everything in the application. For either the UK or any other country, have you ever been? They want to know if you have applied visa to any other country and what's the result of that. If your visa have been refused in any other country, it's better to inform them. It was no for my in-laws, so I said no. They want to know your travel history. So there are so many people with good travel history. If you have a good travel history, it's better to mention here. If you travel countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, which is mentioned here, Home Office highly considers that and then gives the application immediately. Have you ever been to any other country in the past 10 years? No for my in-laws. If you have traveled to any other country, it's better to list the countries here. In either peace or wartime, have you ever been involved in or suspected of involvement in war crimes against humanity or genocide? Most of the people, it's no. Have you ever been involved in support or encouraged terrorist activities? It's no. Have you ever been a member of given support to an organization which has been considered in terrorism? No. Have you ever been to medium expressed views to or justify glory terrorist violence? So these are basically questions where if they want to know whether you are involved in any terrorist activities, and they strictly don't want anyone to enter into UK, and so they want to check this before making a decision, and they want the applicant to be true while making this application. Have you ever been a member or given support to an organization which is or has been considered with extremism? No. conviction and other penalties. At any time, have you ever had any of the following in the UK in any other country? A criminal conviction, a penalty for a driving offense, for example, disqualification for speeding or no motor insurance. So this is quite common questions I've been asked so many times. There are so many people with the speeding ticket and all driving offense in many countries. See, I think it's better to mention it here. They won't reject the visa just because you got a speeding ticket. So you don't need to worry about that, and it's better to tell them the truth and then mention here in the application. So here is the extra information. So if you have any extra information which has not been asked in the application, you can enter it here. Let's say if you have two properties and you don't have any other way to tell them, you can mention here saying that I have two properties and I've attached the property documents. If you have a sufficient savings account in your bank, you can say that you're having this much money with this account number in this bank. Um, and then you can also say that if there's any life insurance policy, you can also mention it here. English language. We may have to talk to you about your application. On which language would you prefer to use? So if you prefer English, you can. But if you're not comfortable speaking English, you can obviously tell your own language and mention it here in the application. They'll be happy to speak to you in the language mentioned here. Mandatory documents. So you need to provide your passport as a mandatory document, which I'm sure everyone has before making the visa application. Coming to the payment section, if you're applying for a standard visa, it's a 6 month, and then fees is £93 for a standard visitor visa. Consent. If your application is successful, there will be conditions on your visa or leave to remain. This will include, for example, whether you're able to work in the UK. There are a list of things where you cannot do on the visitor visa. The visitor visa is purely for the reason you have told the Home Office in the application, and then you just have to do the same thing. You cannot go and find a job there and work in the UK, which is against the immigration policy. So you need to read everything here and then confirm that you accept the terms and conditions mentioned in the application. Finally, the declaration. By sending this application, you confirm that to the best of your knowledge and the belief the following is correct. So it's very important to provide the right information and the true information to the Home Office. If you give all the necessary information I've mentioned in my other video, and also fill the documents and fill the application form the way I've told you, you should be able to get a successful decision in 3 to 5 working days. I hope you like this video and find this video helpful to make your application. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. All the very best and good luck with your application.